Picture this: a 5-year-old boy sits in stunned silence, turning a simple compass over and over in his small hands. The needle stubbornly points north, no matter how he twists the device. Most children would quickly lose interest and move on to the next toy. But this child stares for hours, consumed by a question that would eventually unlock the secrets of the universe: what invisible force is controlling this needle? That boy was Albert Einstein, and that moment of pure wonder would set him on a path to rewrite the laws of physics itself. What if I told you that the man who gave us E=mc² was once told by his teacher, "You're a disgrace, you'll never be successful in life"? Or that he failed his first college entrance exam? Or that after graduating with a physics degree, he couldn't get a job at any university and ended up working as a lowly patent clerk? Einstein's story isn't the typical tale of a child prodigy destined for greatness. It's far more extraordinary, and far more relatable. It's the story of a curious mind that refused to accept the world as others saw it, a persistent spirit that turned every rejection into fuel for discovery, and a humble heart that never stopped asking, "What if?" From the moment he questioned that compass needle to the day he fled Nazi Germany, from his struggles as a misunderstood student to his emergence as the most famous scientist who ever lived, Einstein's journey reveals profound truths about what it really takes to change the world. In the annals of human history, few names shine as brightly as Albert Einstein. His story isn't just about scientific brilliance, it's a testament to the power of curiosity, persistence, and the courage to think differently. This is the remarkable journey of a man who started as a quiet, misunderstood child and became the greatest scientific mind of the 20th century. The quiet beginning: an unusual child in Germany. On March 14, 1879, in the quaint town of Ulm, Germany, a baby was born who would eventually rewrite the laws of physics. Albert Einstein entered the world to Hermann Einstein, a practical businessman dealing in electrical components, and Pauline Koch, a cultured woman with a deep appreciation for music and intellectual pursuits. Their son seemed ordinary in every way except one peculiar detail: his head was remarkably large, causing family members to wonder aloud about his future. What truly set Albert apart, however, wasn't his physical appearance but his profound silence. While other toddlers chattered away, Albert remained mysteriously quiet until nearly his 3rd birthday. His worried parents consulted doctors, fearing something was terribly wrong. Family members nicknamed him the Quiet One, watching with concern as he sat motionless for hours, seemingly lost in thought. But Albert's silence wasn't a sign of limitation, it was evidence of deep contemplation. Even as a small child, he possessed an extraordinary ability to observe and analyze the world around him. Where other children saw simple objects and events, Albert saw mysteries waiting to be solved. The pivotal moment in young Albert's intellectual awakening came when he was 5 years old. His father, perhaps sensing his son's unique nature, presented him with a simple compass. This small gift would ignite a lifelong passion for understanding the invisible forces that govern our universe. Albert became completely fascinated by the compass needle's unwavering commitment to pointing north. No matter how he twisted, turned, or shook the device, the needle remained steadfast in its direction. This seemingly simple phenomenon sparked countless questions in Albert's mind. What invisible force was guiding the needle? How could something he couldn't see have such power? This experience, he would later reflect, left a deep and lasting impression that shaped his scientific worldview. The rebellious student, challenging authority. When Albert entered formal education, his unconventional thinking immediately clashed with the rigid German school system. Teachers expected students to memorize facts and recite them verbatim, but Albert craved understanding over memorization. He wanted to know why things worked, not just accept that they did. His questioning nature frequently annoyed his instructors. One particularly harsh teacher told him, "You're a disgrace, you'll never be successful in life." These cruel words stung deeply, but they also strengthened Albert's resolve to prove his worth through his own methods. While Albert struggled with languages and rote learning, mathematics captured his imagination like nothing else. He called it the language of the universe and approached mathematical problems like fascinating puzzles waiting to be solved. Numbers made sense to him in ways that memorized facts never could. Albert's mother, Pauline, recognized her son's special talents and encouraged his musical development through violin lessons. Initially reluctant, Albert gradually discovered that music provided a unique pathway to clear thinking and relaxation. His uncle Jacob also played a crucial role, teaching mathematics through creative, playful methods. "Math is like a treasure hunt," Jacob would say. "Every problem is a clue leading you to the solution." This approach resonated perfectly with Albert's natural curiosity. Unlike his peers who spent time playing games, Albert immersed himself in books about great scientists and their discoveries. He often imagined making groundbreaking discoveries of his own. During one memorable walk home from school, a question popped into his mind that would haunt him for years: what would it be like to ride a beam of light? This seemingly innocent curiosity would eventually lead to his revolutionary theories about space and time. The difficult transition, family crisis and personal growth. When Albert was 15, family financial troubles forced a major life change. His father's business collapsed, compelling the family to relocate to Italy in search of better opportunities. Albert remained behind in Germany to complete his education, but the separation proved emotionally devastating. Feeling isolated and increasingly frustrated with the authoritarian school environment, Albert made a bold decision that shocked his family and teachers: he would leave school without graduating. This choice seemed catastrophic to most observers. How could anyone succeed without formal credentials? But Albert had a different vision for his future. Instead of following prescribed educational pathways, he embarked on an intensive self-directed learning journey. He devoured books on science, philosophy, and mathematics, teaching himself advanced concepts that weren't covered in traditional curricula. This risky approach demonstrated remarkable self-confidence and intellectual independence. At 16, Albert wrote his first scientific paper, a modest but promising beginning that hinted at his extraordinary potential. He also applied to the prestigious Swiss Federal Polytechnic School, viewing Switzerland as a more open-minded alternative to rigid German educational institutions. His first attempt at the entrance examination ended in failure. Weak performance in non-science subjects like French and history prevented his acceptance. Rather than viewing this setback as defeat, Albert saw it as a challenge to overcome. He dedicated himself to improving his weaknesses while maintaining his strengths, demonstrating the persistence that would characterize his entire career. The Swiss years, finding his path. Switzerland represented freedom and intellectual openness to Albert. At 17, he successfully gained admission to the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich, finally entering the educational environment he had long sought. However, even in this more liberal setting, Albert's rebellious nature created challenges. His professors found his independent thinking difficult to manage. He preferred exploring profound questions about the nature of reality to following standard curricula. While classmates attended lectures religiously, Albert often studied independently, pursuing deeper understanding of physics and mathematics. One professor, frustrated by Albert's unconventional approach, told him, "You are a smart boy, Einstein, but you lack discipline." This criticism missed the point entirely. Albert's apparent lack of discipline actually reflected his intense focus on questions that truly mattered to him. During his time at the Polytechnic, Albert met Mileva Marek, the only female physics student in his class. Mileva was brilliant, sharing Albert's passion for scientific inquiry and independent thinking. Their relationship blossomed through countless hours of discussing complex theoretical concepts. Mileva became more than Albert's classmate, she became his intellectual companion and closest confidant. Albert once wrote to her, "Together we will conquer the world of science." Their partnership faced significant obstacles, including social prejudice against women in science and Albert's ongoing financial struggles. Despite these challenges, they supported each other's dreams and maintained their commitment to scientific discovery. The struggle for recognition, from graduate to patent clerk. Graduating with a physics degree in 1900 at age 21, Albert expected to begin a promising academic career. Reality proved far more difficult. University after university rejected his applications for research positions. His professors, still put off by his unconventional approaches, provided lukewarm recommendations that effectively closed academic doors. This period of rejection was deeply painful for Albert. He had worked tirelessly for years, only to face disappointment at every turn. But rather than abandoning his dreams, he took whatever employment he could find to survive. In 1902, Albert secured a position as a patent clerk at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. This job seemed far removed from his scientific aspirations. Reviewing patent applications had little connection to theoretical physics. Initially disappointed, Albert soon recognized the unexpected advantages of his situation. The patent office provided steady income and regular hours, but most importantly, it gave him time to think. Albert began calling his workplace his thinking laboratory. While officially evaluating inventions, he secretly developed his revolutionary theories about light, time, and space. He was determined to pursue his scientific dreams regardless of his official job title. Personal life and scientific breakthrough. In 1903, Albert married Mileva in a simple ceremony. Their first son, Hans Albert Einstein, was born soon after. Although they found happiness together, financial pressures created ongoing stress. Albert's modest clerk's salary barely supported his growing family, forcing them to live in cramped quarters and carefully manage every expense. Friends frequently advised Albert to abandon his scientific pursuits and focus entirely on his job. His response revealed his unwavering commitment: "I would rather struggle for my passion than live comfortably without purpose." This philosophy would guide him through the most challenging periods of his life. Despite personal hardships, Albert continued developing his theoretical work. Long evenings after his day job were spent wrestling with fundamental questions about the nature of reality. His dedication was about to pay off in ways no one could have imagined. 1905 became Einstein's annus mirabilis, his miracle year. At age 26, this unknown patent clerk published a series of papers that revolutionized physics and changed our understanding of the universe forever. His first groundbreaking paper explained the photoelectric effect, demonstrating that light behaves like tiny particles called photons. This discovery would eventually earn him the Nobel Prize in Physics and lay the foundation for quantum mechanics. His second major contribution proved the existence of atoms through his analysis of Brownian motion. At the time, many scientists still doubted whether atoms actually existed, making this a truly revolutionary achievement. But Albert's most famous work was his special theory of relativity. This paper introduced the stunning concept that time and space are relative rather than absolute. From this theory emerged the legendary equation E=mc², revealing that energy and matter are interchangeable forms of the same thing. Recognition and global fame. These papers sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Albert Einstein, the humble patent clerk with no university position, had just rewritten the fundamental laws of physics. Scientists worldwide began taking notice of his extraordinary work. Academic opportunities that had been closed to Albert suddenly opened. He received teaching offers from prestigious universities and finally achieved his dream of becoming a professor. Success, however, didn't change Albert's humble nature or intense curiosity. He continued asking profound questions and pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. By 1909, Albert's reputation had spread throughout Europe. He accepted a professorship at the University of Zurich and later moved to Prague to teach at the German university. These positions provided him with the resources and intellectual environment needed to continue his groundbreaking research. Albert remained remarkably modest despite growing recognition. "I am no genius," he would say. "I am simply curious. I stay with questions longer than others." This humility endeared him to colleagues and students while keeping his focus on scientific discovery rather than personal glory. The war years and personal struggles. In 1914, Albert moved to Berlin after receiving a prestigious appointment at the Prussian Academy of Sciences. This position offered him unprecedented freedom to focus entirely on research without teaching obligations. World War I broke out around this time, affecting millions of lives across the globe. While many scientists supported their nation's war efforts, Albert courageously spoke out against the conflict. He believed passionately in peace and used his growing influence to advocate for international harmony. This stance wasn't popular in wartime Germany, but Albert remained committed to his principles regardless of public opinion. The war years brought personal turmoil as well. Albert's marriage to Mileva began deteriorating under the combined pressures of his increasing fame, their past financial struggles, and the stress of wartime life. In 1919, they divorced, though Albert ensured that Mileva and their sons received proper financial support. Scientific triumph and international celebrity. 1919 brought Albert's greatest scientific validation. British scientists conducted experiments to test his general theory of relativity, which he had been developing since 1915. The theory predicted that gravity could bend light, a seemingly impossible concept that challenged everything people believed about the universe. When the experimental results confirmed Albert's predictions, the news created a global sensation. For the first time in history, a scientist became an international celebrity overnight. Newspapers around the world proclaimed, "Einstein's theory proven," and "revolution in science." Albert's response to his sudden fame revealed his characteristic wit and awareness of the prejudice he faced as a Jewish scientist. "If my theories are proven wrong, the Americans will say I am German and the Germans will say I am Jewish. If my theories are proven right, the Germans will say I am German and the Americans will say I am Jewish." Throughout the 1920s, Albert traveled extensively, giving lectures and meeting fellow scientists around the globe. He visited the United States, Japan, and numerous other countries, sharing his ideas and inspiring the next generation of thinkers. Albert used his fame strategically, advocating for peace and supporting the rights of minorities and refugees. His growing celebrity status also attracted criticism. Some accused him of being too idealistic, while others attempted to discredit his work for political or racist reasons. Albert faced these challenges with remarkable grace, famously noting that, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." Escape from Nazi Germany. The rise of the Nazi regime in 1933 created mortal danger for Albert as a Jewish scientist. The Nazis burned his books and labeled his theories, Jewish science, attempting to erase his contributions from German culture. Recognizing the grave threat to his safety, Albert fled Germany and accepted a position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. This forced exile deeply saddened Albert, but he remained optimistic about the future. "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity," he reflected, demonstrating his ability to find hope even in the darkest circumstances. Albert became an American citizen in 1940 and spent his remaining years in the United States. During World War II, his famous equation E=mc² provided the theoretical foundation for nuclear weapons development, though Albert himself played no direct role in creating the atomic bomb. When he learned about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, Albert was deeply troubled. He regretted that his work had been used for destruction and dedicated his remaining years to advocating for nuclear disarmament. "Mankind invented the atomic bomb," he observed, "but no mouse would ever construct a mousetrap." The final years, wisdom and legacy. Even as one of the world's most famous people, Albert maintained a remarkably simple lifestyle. He refused to own a car, didn't wear socks, and often spent time sailing despite never learning to swim. These quirks reflected his belief that true happiness came from intellectual pursuits rather than material possessions. Albert's curiosity never diminished. He continued exploring fundamental questions about the universe, from black holes to time travel possibilities. His later years were devoted to developing a unified field theory that would explain all natural forces through a single mathematical framework, a challenge that remains unsolved today. Despite declining health, Albert worked until his final days. On April 18, 1955, at age 76, he passed away in Princeton. His last words, spoken in German, were never recorded because his nurse didn't understand the language. The enduring impact of a revolutionary mind. Albert Einstein's contributions to science, peace, and humanity remain unparalleled. His story teaches us profound lessons about the nature of greatness and the power of persistent curiosity. First, struggles shape character and achievement. Albert faced rejection, ridicule, and persecution throughout his life, but these challenges strengthened rather than defeated him. Every setback became a stepping stone toward greater understanding and accomplishment. Second, curiosity drives all meaningful progress. Albert's revolutionary discoveries began with simple questions: how does a compass work? What would it be like to ride a beam of light? His willingness to pursue seemingly impossible questions led to insights that transformed our understanding of reality. Third, true greatness requires humility and values beyond personal success. Despite achieving unprecedented fame, Albert remained grounded in his principles. He used his influence to promote peace, support the oppressed, and advance human knowledge rather than personal gain. Albert Einstein's life proves that greatness isn't about being perfect, it's about being passionate, persistent, and unafraid to challenge conventional thinking. His enduring words continue to inspire us: try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value. Today, Einstein's name has become synonymous with genius, but his true legacy lies in demonstrating that one person's curiosity and courage can indeed change the world. His extraordinary journey from a quiet, misunderstood child to history's greatest scientific mind reminds us that the power to transform our understanding of reality lies within each of us, waiting to be awakened by questions we dare to ask and dreams we refuse to abandon. Einstein's extraordinary journey. Closing speech. Dear listeners, today we have shared together the story of a man who started with an ordinary compass and unlocked the secrets of the universe. Albert Einstein's life shows us this: true greatness comes not from being perfect, but from being filled with curiosity. In Einstein's own words, the important thing is to never stop learning. Sacred curiosity must never be lost. This sacred curiosity is the force that transformed a quiet 5-year-old child into the world's greatest scientist. His story gives us 3 important lessons. First, failures don't destroy us, they strengthen us. As Einstein said, failure is experience on the road to success. Second, let's not be afraid to think differently. Einstein, who said, "You cannot solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created it," emphasizes the importance of bold thinking. Third, true value comes from humanity. His words, "Try not to become a person of success, but rather try to become a person of value," summarize his life philosophy. Einstein's journey has ended, but his greatest legacy is hidden in these words: imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, imagination embraces the entire world. There is an Einstein inside all of us. All we need to do is keep alive that 5-year-old child's curiosity and continue asking, what if it weren't so? Let's not forget Einstein's words: great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Let's continue to think differently, ask questions, and realize our dreams. Because as Einstein also said, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Thank you.